I'm going to be trying something different for this review. Instead of doing it how I normally do my reviews, where I just read a script and then edit things out, which honestly took far too long, I am going to try just reading it and just letting things flow. So I'm going to see if I can add some things. I'm not going to edit anything out, so there might be a few more stutters, hiccups or pauses. Well, if there's any major pauses or major screw-ups, obviously I'll edit those out. But for now, this is going to be a slightly different review from how we used to do them. So, Hitman. I like stealth games in general, but I have always kind of struggled with the Hitman series. The only game I can say I definitely really enjoyed in this series, and is worth playing absolutely to everyone, no doubt about it, is Hitman Blood Money. The others didn't really keep my interest, and the PC versions were a bit outdated. I might change my mind if I play the HD remakes of them that are on the PS3, because my PS3 is still here and still works perfectly. But for now, no, couldn't get into them. This one tries to recapture the formula that was lost in Absolution, which I agree with people who say that one was a bit rubbish. The Hitman format, for those who don't know, is that you must replay a level over and over again to find out the most efficient, stealthy and effective way of taking out targets without being killed. You do this by either sneaking around locations, disguising yourself in other outfits such as guard outfits or waiter outfits, etc. in order to pass through levels you otherwise couldn't access without having your suspicion raised. You also have to use gadgets and the environment to maybe make deaths look like accidents, or to make sure no one sees you killing the target or finds the body afterwards. It is hard, and while it does sound very repetitive, playing the same level over and over again trying different things, it is all a learning curve, and once you learn the best ways of taking out the target in an area, you are able to just fly through the levels. The only annoying thing with this one is a lot of online strategies I have found for completing the challenges and the levels are all time-based, so you have to move in with the same speed they show in the videos. It is possible to rush through the levels, speaking of rushing, where you can just go in, shoot everyone and rush out, but if you go into an open gunfight where you're expected to be shot at, you will die very quickly. It's like if you were playing Uncharted on the hardest difficulty, you would die so fast. This is not Uncharted, though. In fact, I'd even say it's a bit harder than Uncharted because you've got no real maneuverability. Although later you do unlock a sniper rifle, and the game does translate really well to a sniper game actually. The game does require some imagination to be able to progress the levels, as you could probably imagine with everything that you need to work out and plan, etc. And also you will need some patience. If you fly through the levels, you are kind of missing the point. Also, it is satisfying to complete a level with a well thought out strategy. The controls are fine. It's standard Hitman affair here. You can crouch, you can sprint, you can equip and holster weapons you are holding on the fly. It's all here. So basically, if you've played Blood Money, you'll be right at home here. So how do you unlock things? Well, basically, as you complete challenges in the level, such as certain ways to kill a target, such as dropping a chandelier on the head, for example, or drowning them into a certain location, etc., you gain experience for completing those challenges, and with that experience you level up mastery levels, which is exclusive to each level, and it goes up to level 20. And getting levels in this mastery gives you permanent rewards such as gadgets and starting locations. The gadgets can be used in later levels, which is actually pretty cool. The challenges are fun, but I never got maximum mastery in any of the levels because they started requiring a lot of sharp timing and strategy planning, and the game started to get a bit repetitive for me, and I just said, nah, I just moved on after that. Moved on to other games that I've got lying on my 50 game backlog. But if you want a game of replay value where that kind of thing appeals to you, then there you go, this is it. The game is shorter than most Hitman levels, though, and it's also shorter than most Hitman games. There's only 6 levels in this one, but the levels are designed to be replayed a lot more than the previous games, and they're also quite large. I know I said they're a bit shorter, but they are quite large levels. And there's honestly a lot more strategies, starting methods, challenges and items that you can use in the game, and honestly it will keep you busy if you want your Hitman game with a lot of content. There are only 7 maps though. I know I just said 6, but there's also a tutorial level, which technically counts, although that is quite a small level, and it is the tutorial. You can access any level at any time you want, which makes sense considering the episodic DLC format they were going for, and the game does warn you with a spoiler warning about the story. Not that it matters, this game doesn't exactly have a Tarantino style narrative. The levels are very diverse and are all open right off the bat, and there's a very detailed and useful map that shows you where to go. They say open world, but that's a bit like saying GTA is an RPG. Yeah, it is kind of open world, but it's not a giant area that covers 50 kilometers. And yeah, GTA has stats, but it's not like you're slowly learning to be the character and you're making your own choices, etc. I do have to talk about a couple of problems I have with this game. One of them is quite a major one, the other one is a minor problem. The minor problem being that the menu in the game is just horrible. It's really hard to navigate and it's just messy. I have no idea what I was looking at or where I was meant to go in this menu when I first started playing. And there's a reason that this menu is messy, which actually leads on to the major problem. Online integration. Most of the game's features are controlled through online, that being challenges and the system keeping your score on mastery levels, and also how the menu's controlled, like you'll see adverts for their DLC and all that guffins. If you're offline because your internet isn't working or something, or if the Square Enix servers are under maintenance, then you can't do the challenges. Why was this done? Was this so you could put some sort of online DRM in place? So if the servers are shut down in 5 to 10 years time, no one can complete the challenges. No. Don't ever do that. This system is absolutely terrible. There's no online mode, it doesn't need to be there, and having the synchronized high score is not an excuse. You tried that in Just Cause 3 and it made the game worse. Don't do that anymore. Thankfully they did not do that with Nia, but that's a review for another day. As for graphics, yeah, they're fine. The game runs at an unlocked frame rate on the PS4, which can lock to 30 if you got really, if variable frame rate does annoy you. The shadows and the grass effects are nice, no weird anti-aliasing effect that has a really bad habit of giving me a headache in some games. And textures and character models are well done, everything is fine. No problem with the graphics at all. Only problem I really had with the game is that load times do take a while, and my PS4 is packing a 1TB hybrid. If you don't know what that is, it's basically halfway between a solid state drive, which is really fast, and just a regular hard drive, which you see in pretty much everything. And it still takes about 30 seconds to load the game, which is annoying when you mess up and you're trying to reload something. So if you've never played a Hitman game before, then this is an easy recommendation, but also I would recommend you try to find a copy of Hitman Blood Money as well if you have the system you can play it on, so whether being a PC or a PS3, or if you still have it, a PS2. It is an old game now, so modern laptops might even be able to play it fine. It's definitely worth looking into. This one is a lot shorter than other Hitman games, but it's also a lot more replayable, like I said earlier. So if you don't mind that and you're a Hitman fan, this game is going to be great for you. But then again, if you're a Hitman fan, you probably already have this game. So I did enjoy the game overall. I actually really did at times, even though I am not the market of people with imagination that the game is for. So yes, I would say if you like the sound of everything I have said, give this game a go. You can get a physical copy, which is actually only available in a steelbook version for some reason, but there you go, or a digital version. If you want the steelbook version, then have at it, but it's a bit more expensive than the digital version, and I have seen the digital version go on sale quite a bit. In fact, that's actually how I obtained this game, because it was on sale.